What did Netflix get wrong about Dominique's story? How did the real-life serpent escape an Indian prison? Was Marie-Andree the serpent's victim or his partner? And who of the real witnesses didn't like their depiction in the series? Hi, I'm Dylan. Let's dive in and beware of spoilers. The serpent and his poison.
I have never killed her, nor did I met her. We have to see whether those tapes exist.
They called him Serpent because of how sly, poisonous, and manipulative he was. Even if he was caught, Charles Sobhraj could find his way out of jail. We'll give you one example that wasn't shown in the series. He once escaped an Indian prison in order to cancel his extradition to Thailand, where he was supposed to face the death penalty. How exactly did he do it? While in jail, Sobhraj threw himself a birthday party. He invited his fellow inmates as well as the guards. And as he had some dangerous connections even in jail, Sobhraj managed to lace his birthday treats with sedatives. When the guards passed out, Sobhraj just left the Indian prison. Smart and terrifying. When Netflix started to work on The Serpent, the first thing they did was conduct proper research. Thanks to two journalists, Richard Neville and Julie Clark, there was a book called The Life and Crimes of Charles Sobhraj. It depicted all the horrible details of the events in the 70s, and Netflix stayed very close to what was written in the book. For example, if you watched those scenes where Sobhraj poisoned his victims and were hoping that Netflix exaggerated it, then unfortunately, you're wrong. In terms of crimes, nothing was exaggerated. It was confirmed by the writers of that book and by Marie-Andree Leclerc's testimony that Sobhraj used various different medicines to make his victims helpless, from itching powder and diarrhea-inducing medicine to heavy drugs. If Sobhraj wanted someone to stay at his place and work for him for a long time, he would give them a mix of real stomach medicine and hypnotic drugs. We all remember that poor French tourist Dominique who was trapped in the serpent's house, right? Let's talk about that very real case. The Story of Dominique.
And you understand why it's hard for me to accept that you just want to leave.
One of the series' most horrifying episodes was about Dominique becoming the serpent's prisoner. Out of money and a passport, the tourist had few hopes of getting home. Thanks to Nadine and Remy, he managed to get back to his parents in France. So, how accurately was Dominique's storyline told? Well, pretty accurately. Dominique Renelot indeed met Charles Sobhraj for the first time in a cafe. But unlike how it was shown in the series, at the time, Charles was with his girlfriend, Marie-Andree. The spine-chilling fact is that later, Dominique reported that he thought Charles was a very pleasant person at first. Just like in the series, Dominique was manipulated and poisoned, and it took him some time to realize that he was in Sobhraj's deadly trap. How Dominique managed to escape the country is also true. Yes, there really were two brave people, Nadine and Remy, who helped Dominique buy a ticket home and helped him put his passport back together. Many people wonder, how was he when he got back home? He was fine. Believe it or not, but Dominique still loves to travel. Yeah, despite everything he went through. He has a wife and two grown-up children now, and they live in a seaside town in western France. It may be obvious to most of you that Dominique never speaks about Thailand. His wife shared in one of her interviews that his trip to Asia still gives him nightmares today. This all happened a long time ago, and I have no desire to speak any more of Charles Sobhraj, Dominique concluded. His story was shown 100% truthfully, with only one difference. He wasn't alone when he ran away from the serpent. Let's talk about that. Nadine and Remy's help. In real life, these two brave people not only helped Dominique, they also helped another guy who wasn't presented in the series. His name was Yannick Massey. Once he broke down and confessed to Nadine that he was afraid for his life. While in the series, it was Dominique who told the truth about Sobhraj. The real-life Nadine and Remy couldn't just walk away. They loaned Yannick and Dominique 1,000 pounds for their tickets, saving their lives. When Sobhraj came back from Hong Kong, he demanded that Nadine tell him where the guys were. It was terrible. I was waiting in a hotel lobby when they came up behind me and said, "Surprise!" My heart jumped. They offered me a ride home, and I had to get into a very small lift with them. You can see that this scene was also represented very accurately in the series. Though on Netflix, Nadine met the killers at the post office, not in a hotel lobby. It is true that Nadine helped to break into Sobhraj's apartment to get as much evidence as possible. The brave woman recently recalled to Radio Times how horrible her experience was. "I used to sleep with a baseball bat under my bed, but I have to admit that when we first met, I suspected nothing and was taken in by his charm. because there was something about Sobhraj's look that made people trust him, at least at first. Was Marie-Andree the Serpent's victim or a partner? This is one of the biggest questions people still have even now. Some people claim that Marie-Andree was very much aware of Sobhraj's crimes. Others claim that she was very much consciously involved. But there are also those who deny that Marie was Sobhraj's partner. Nadine Gires, for example. Yes, according to Nadine's interview to the Daily Mail, Marie-Andree was more of a prisoner than a partner. She told me, "I have no passport, no money, and if I try to leave, he will kill me." Nadine also added that she felt sorry for Marie-Andree and that she was a sad and simple person, not the movie star we see in the series. Jenna Coleman, the actress who portrayed the character, had similar thoughts. When preparing for the role, she read the famous Marie-Andree's diary. The way she lived was completely delusional, Coleman told Radio Times. It was all about squashing all of it away and not letting the truth in. She had an obsessive nature and was incredibly emotional. Coleman thinks that some part of Marie-Andree wanted to leave Sobhraj, but it was all about that power Charles had over women.
And from that moment it's in writing. Her picture is on the front of every newspaper. That is the beginning of the unraveling.
Real-life Marie-Andree was imprisoned and released after she was diagnosed with terminal ovarian cancer. She was allowed to return to Canada, where she died because of the disease at the age of 38. The inaccuracies about Sobhraj's wife. There were a couple of differences made in the series regarding this woman. First of all, her name. Yes, Sobhraj's former wife is Chantal Compagnon. Well, in the series, she was renamed Juliette Vauclain. Second of all, she wasn't pregnant before their wedding, like it was shown on Netflix. They did have a daughter, though. Her name was Usha, but Netflix changed it to Madhu. And most importantly, Chantal didn't try to isolate herself and their daughter from Sobhraj. Chantal actually helped her husband in his crimes. Yes, they both used forged documents to travel around Eastern Europe and rob hippie students. And when Sobhraj went to prison after a robbery attempt at a jewelry store, it was his wife Chantal who helped him get out. The scene where Sobhraj faked appendicitis was inspired by true events, but he couldn't make his break without Chantal. We don't know the true reason why she helped her husband. It's possible that she was just as scared of him as the rest of his partners were. Sometime after, Chantal and Sobhraj got arrested in Afghanistan. As always, the Serpent found his way out of prison, but according to The Sun, he left his wife inside. And nobody knows much about what happened to her after. She was said to have returned to Paris where she lived with their daughter. It's also known that Sobhraj actually had 2 wives. Yes, he got married again in 2008, this time in jail. His second wife's name is Nihida Biswas, and she always denied Sobhraj committed any of the crimes he was accused of. Where is Herman Knippenberg and his wife now? Billy Halley, the actor who portrayed the Dutch diplomat, had a chance to talk to the real Herman Knippenberg. They had dozens of conversations both on the phone and on the set. Halley remembered how responsible this legendary man was. Herman being Herman, he turned up on set before everyone else and was ready and waiting to see what this day of filming had to offer. Classic Knippenberg. The man was very surprised by how accurate the series was, saying some details were depicted dangerously close. I think that Billy Halley did a fantastic job. It was so real at times. I was gripped myself and had to make up my mind whether indeed it was as Billy Halley played it or as I had experienced it. Another thing that has also remained true is Knippenberg's obsession with Sobhraj. Just like it was shown in the series, Knippenberg simply couldn't stop investigating Sobhraj's murders. He got inside me like some sort of tropical malaria. He wouldn't go away. After finishing the job of his life, Knippenberg finally retired. Now he's living happily with his second wife in New Zealand. Unfortunately, he and Angela Kane got divorced in 1989. Talking about Kane, she didn't really like the way her character was shown in the series. She believes Netflix underplayed her role in the horrible events of the 70s. Herman and I were very much partners in all of this. A husband and wife detective team is a good story, and that is the real story, but that's not the way they wrote it. In the series, Angela Kane was rather shown as Herman's dutiful wife, which, according to her, she never was. I would have liked certain things to be different, and I have told them that, but it is what it is. Sometimes fiction needs the real facts to step aside so the drama can work better. Do you know who'd love to watch the series? Charles Sobhraj. His ego is always happy when anyone tries to tell his story. Though as far as we know, Sobhraj hasn't watched the show yet. He's 77 and his health is far from perfect. Sobhraj had several heart surgeries and a few years ago he was in critical condition. Now he's in jail in Nepal, where he will spend the rest of his life. Did you enjoy our video? We have more for you then. Thanks for watching, and take care.